Namaste, I'm Emma from Becoming Mummy Yoga, and this is a chair pose check-in. It is aimed at postnatal, but having said that, prenatal can do it. Just move the legs as wide as you need to accommodate bump, and make sure you don't feel any strain at any point during the activity. Come out of it if you do. By extension, our preconception friends could also quite safely do this. No need to accommodate bump yet, but hopefully that's coming soon. It's probably good for you. It's probably good for you to learn in advance anyway, so feel free to stay tuned. For our postnatal friends, please wait until at least 6 to 8 weeks postnatal, because this one might be a little bit strong on all of those healing tissues of the pelvic floor and the core, and especially if you had a C-section, you had 4 layers of abdominal muscle cut through to get the baby out, and you do need healing time without any strain. So please make sure that you've been cleared by a medical health professional to return to exercise before you go ahead with this. Props, a wall for support in case you need it is handy, but you don't have to. And option for a yoga block or a ball of roughly that size, even if it's not a yoga ball, just a ball your kids have laying around somewhere, or a sturdy container, even just anything of that size that you can just pop between the thighs to squeeze, but you could also do it without. So that's completely up to you. We'll begin by aligning into Tadasana, and even our early postnatal friends can do this part of it just to get the posture right. Ground down through all 4 corners of each foot, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, 2 outside corners of the heels. Make sure you're really balanced over those feet, and just a micro bend in the knees, just enough that they're not locked straight. Tilt the pelvis a little until the tailbone tucks under, and then we're just going to run very quickly through the gesture of the 5 bandhas. I won't dwell on them other than the first 2 are quite relevant for our chair check-in. So the first one is the idea of lifting the pelvic floor in and up towards the spine. So the pelvic floor being that sling of muscles that sits down in here and suspends all our pelvic organs. You could imagine the cervix lifting as though it's got a string attached to it, and it's pulling it in and up towards your spine. That might help you get that little lift. And if you can't feel it, don't be too discouraged. The more you practice, the more you get used to it. We're not engaging any other muscles here either, so it is quite a subtle movement, and it can take time to reintegrate your connection with your pelvic floor and be able to lift it on as strongly as possible. So never be disheartened. Just use this time as information, see if you can do it, and if you can't feel anything right now, trust that your intention of lifting is enough and that your strength will progress with time. Navel is also going to draw in and up towards the spine, so that's our second point. And this is good for posture anyway, but it also engages those lower abdominals. So they have relevance to pelvic floor function as well. So these 2 are quite important for our chair pose check-in in a moment. The others I'm just going to gloss over a little. Third point is lifting the heart as though you're going to lift it up towards the sky, and we're opening up through those pecs. Shoulder blades down and together is the 4th check-in point, and then the 5th one is just the chin lightly tucked, just to turn on those neck stabilizer muscles. Here you are aligned into Tadasana, little bonus posture challenge for you, and you can take that off mat and check in with it multiple times a day. Now, those of us who are more than 6 to 8 weeks postnatal can take a little step away from our wall and just make sure we've maintained our nice posture. Inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale, begin to sit back as though you were going into a chair. Do it as slowly as you possibly can. You're just getting to know that you can keep going and sink down further and further if you're on green, so you can maintain a rhythmic breath. There's no downward pressure on the pelvic floor. You're not losing control of abdominal pressure out through the midline either, and you're just feeling strong and capable. So if you're on yellow at any point here as you start to sink down, once you get to yellow, you need to modify. So yellow signs are things like starting to feel a bit of bearing down through the pelvic floor. Just ease back up to a level that doesn't cause that, or try once again actively and consciously engaging that pelvic floor by drawing in and up towards the spine. If that fixes it, you can probably pause there, and that might be the extent of your chair pose today. Maybe another day it will be different, and the joy of this is that you can see your progression over time. Maybe today it's here, maybe in a few weeks it's here, but it might not be linear in our postnatal recovery. So try not to be disheartened if you get all the way down today and then tomorrow you couldn't go quite as far. Tuning in is more important to your recovery than building up fast. So we've come to wherever we're comfortable, and I should just mention red here. So if you get any leaking, any symptoms, any heaviness that you can't get rid of by modifying, coming up a little, or by lifting the pelvic floor in and up towards the spine, you're going to come out of the pose and maybe lay down on your back and do some pelvic floor exercises there. Come back to this one a different day. Once you're in the full expression of the pose for your body right now, you can place that block between your thighs if you have it, and just squeeze lightly. This is just, and you can use the wall for support too. So we could just come back using the wall for support for the back, and that's another modification you can try if you were on yellow. It's also just something you can try to help let you tune in other places without worrying about your balance. So if that block is between your thighs, you're just squeezing it gently. If you don't have anything, just imagine those thighs moving towards the midline without actually moving them. Those hip adductors, the ones that squeeze together, have got influence on the pelvic floor function. So they're good to strengthen anyway, and this pose can be used for that. But right here, right now, we were using it as a check-in, and now we're using it as a bit of strengthening. But you could use this block as part of your check-in just to help you get maybe a little extra sensation of lift through the pelvic floor. Because once we turn those muscles on, it can be helpful for our ability to feel and to lift, because those muscles are now helping the pelvic floor to work. So that's another nice trick for your pelvic floor exercises as well. If you're not feeling it, even in laying down, anything like that, try squeezing the legs together, or point the toes in a little, can also bring those muscles on to get you to feel more of your pelvic floor engagement. When you're ready to come out of the pose, remove the block if you haven't already. And then if you're on the wall, you can walk back up it to stand on an inhale, or if you're not on the wall, once again, we probably still have the arms overhead, but if they came down to rest, that's fine. You can just inhale them back up and then lift through the body to come out. I hope this helps.